During this course, I'll show code examples in some of the videos. To ensure the code is up to date, I'll host the sample code here on GitHub. That means if you want to follow along, you'll need to clone my repo on your computer. If you're new to Git or GitHub, I recommend you go to our site and watch some of our source control courses. Since this is a Visual Studio Tips course, I suggest you also watch my source control course, the one shown at the bottom of this webpage. It's called Visual Studio Essential Training 10, Protecting Your Codebase with Source Control Providers. The GitHub chapter in this course has lots of examples on the GitHub integration in Visual Studio. Don't worry if you don't have time right now to explore those courses. I'll show you the basics of cloning the GitHub repo in this video. If you are a Git veteran, then you can skip the rest of this intro movie. The first stop in this tour is to go find my public repo on the GitHub site. So go to the site and go to github.com, Walt Richer, and then click on repositories. Depending on which course you are watching, you'll need to find the correct repo. For this demonstration, I'll show you how to clone the repo for my Visual Studio Productivity Tips for Web Developers course. The steps are similar from my other courses. So I'll go to this repo, and then I'll click on the clone or download button. And then I'll click here to copy this URL for the repo to my clipboard. Now that you've copied the URL to the clipboard, it's time to look at how to clone the remote repo to your local computer. Today, I'm looking at how to do that from within Visual Studio. There are other approaches you can take, like using the Git command line or using other third-party tools. In Visual Studio, open Team Explorer. On my computer, it's here on the right side of the screen. If you don't see Team Explorer, you can view it by going to View, Team Explorer. Next, click on the Connection button, and then go to Local Git Repositories. Since I don't have the course shown on this list of local Git repositories, I will click on the clone hyperlink here at the top of the page, and then I'll paste in that URL we copied earlier. You'll see that Visual Studio is suggesting a location for the local repository. It's calling it visualstudio.webdeveloper.tips. This is in my default location, which on my computer is in the users folder, in the WR folder, and then in source repos. It's then going to create this subfolder, and it's going to recursively clone any submodules. So I'll go ahead and click on the clone button. Now I'll switch over to File Explorer, and you can see my repos folder, and you'll see there is now a new folder in this location that contains the code from the remote repository.